Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom. Had to get my Shabbat Shalom in before sun went down. It's going down really quick. And I haven't been here in a minute. And I was so encouraged earlier today because someone texted me and was like, when are you going to start teaching again? I was like, oh, I'm being missed. Okay, by one person. But hallelujah, somebody's out there waiting to hear from me. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be back with you again. We've gone through a little bit of a setback, regroup, get everything back in order. We had a small incident. It turned out to be a big incident. And hallelujah, we're back. First, this is Elder Yechezk'el in Israel from the Ark of New Jersey. And I want to say I am really grateful for everyone that has been praying for us and has been reaching out to us. I've gotten phone calls. Check this one out. I've gotten phone calls from around the world reaching out to me and text messages and people concerned about our well-being, and I'm so grateful that for the every phone call, every message that has been given to me, and we've even had financial support, and it's been grateful. We've been grateful for that because we've been out of work for a minute, and we've been getting things back in order, and we're just grateful. So thank you, Toda Rabah on steroids. We're really grateful. So today I wanted to talk with everyone that's interested about something that been seeing going on in Zion, a problem that seems to erupt, but it's not something that's new. It's something that has been occurring since, oh my goodness, since we've been a people, since we've been a nation. And that is the act of discouragement that has been pushed out and given to us in every way possible that you can imagine. There's like, you're going to be already discouraged by things that are going on inside of you, but there's some things where other people have tried their best to disrupt the awakening, to disrupt some of the things that are occurring. As we come together, we're a broken nation trying to reconstruct a righteous kingdom. And so I want to look at a few verses and just kind to just investigate this whole thing of discouragement. So I'm going to start off with going into the book of Avan. Did I say that right? Ayav. How we pronounce Job? Ayov. Ayov. It's like love, right? It's funny because Ayov, if you spell love in English, it's Love. His name is spelled Iyov, right? So it's almost like you got the word love there, right? You know what his name means? Anybody know what his name means? Hate. Isn't that crazy? His name means hate. Why would of all people, why would y'all pick a person whose name means hate and put him on a pedestal, put him up to Satan and say, check out this guy? We're going to look at this for a minute, because the more you love Yah, the more you are a target for Hasatan, and the more hatred will be displayed towards you. So of all people, he's hated by the adversary. And the more we walk with Yah, the more hatred is going to be displayed by not by everybody, but by the powers to be. That's why we're placed on the government has called us a hate group. They only know what they're actually doing. They're taking the people that every time you meet a Israelite that's awakened, they share with you one common thing. Everybody knows what that is, right? They always greet you when they greet you to say hello, and when they greet you to say goodbye with what? Come on, loud. Let's hear it. Shalom. Shalom. Well, shalom is just the opposite of hate, right? That's peace. So we're the peaceful people, but yet they're saying we're the hate group. Go figure that one out. So I want to look at, and I know that we have Bible scholars, people who are all in the Sefer, and so when we read through this, you're going to be like, I already read that. I already know this. But we're going to read through 2 chapters, and Mark is going to read for me. And check this out. I'm going to be very mute in my response. I'm going to try not to respond, but if something just pops out and I have to say something, you know me. I'm going to say it. Yeah. All right. So you may have to get a little closer so that they can hear you. All right.
How do I look?
You look good.
All right.
He's got his Exodus 21:16 shirt on. Hallelujah. Homework, study it. Here we go.
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
The book of Iyov. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Iyov. And that man was perfect and straight, and one who feared Elohim and turned aside from evil.
Okay, so I said I was going to keep quiet, but this is going to be really important because we're going to hear this again. This man was upright, perfect, and one that feared Elohim. Upright, perfect does not, you can't have this equation without the fearing of Yah. You have to have the fear of Yah in order to be the upright and perfect person. Unfortunately, we see people that dress up in a 3-piece suit and we think they're upright and perfect and they have no fear of Yah. There's something wrong there. Okay, that's verse 1. I said I was going to keep quiet, so let me go back. Verse 2.
And 7 sons and 3 daughters were born to him. And his possessions were 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 female donkeys, and a very large body of servants, so that this man was the greatest of all the people in the east. And his sons went and had a feast in the house of each on his yom, and sent and invited their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it came to be, when the yamim of feasting had gone round, that Iyov would send and set them apart, and he would rise early in the morning and offer burnt offerings. The number of them all, for Iyov said, it might be that my sons have sinned and cursed Elohim in their hearts. This Iyov always did. And the yom came to be that the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Hashatan also came among them.
Okay, so before we get into this really good, go back and listen to that. He prayed and took care and offered sacrifices for his children because just in case they sin and curse Yah in what?
In their hearts.
In their hearts. See, we're confused because a curse is not just saying, get that out of my face. Their curse is their behavior against Yah. So here, this man of great wealth, rich, filthy rich. See, we have a problem with that because when we hear people with a lot of money, because we know it's hard for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of Yah. But this man was able to have wealth and maintain his integrity. Go ahead.
Um,
6.
am I there? And the young came to be that the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Hashatan also came among them. And Yahweh said to Hashatan, "From where did you come?" And Shatan answered Yahweh and said, "From diligently searching in the Arets, and from walking up and down in it." And Yahweh said to Hashatan, "Have you considered my servant Ayob, that there is none like him on the Arets, a perfect and straight man, one who fears Elohim and turns aside from evil?"
There's the commentary, or whoever wrote this at the beginning said that he was a straight and upright man. Now the Abba Father actually comes out and says he's a straight and upright man. All right, so he's got witness of two people confessing that this person is upright and a perfect man. So there's no sin in his life. And some people wonder, can you be perfect? Sure you can. He lays it out there. He tells you that Job was a perfect and upright man, and you can maintain a perfect and upright stance. Come on.
And Hashatan answered Yahweh and said, "Is Ayob fearing Elohim for nothing? Have you not made a hedge around him and around his household and around all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But stretch out your hand, please, and strike all that he has, if he will not curse you to your face." And Yahweh said unto Hashatan, "See, everything that he has is in your hand. Only do not lay a hand on himself." And Hashatan went out from the presence of Yahweh. And the young came to be when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in the house of their brother, the firstborn. And the messenger came to Ayob and said, "The oxen were plowing and the donkeys feeding alongside them, when Sheba fell upon them and took them away. And they smote the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to inform you." While he was still speaking, another came also and said, "The fire of Elohim fell from the Shamayim and burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I alone have escaped to inform you." While he was still speaking, another also came and said, "The Chaldeans formed 3 bands and made a raid on the camels and took them away, and they smote the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to inform you." While he was still speaking, another also came and said, "Your sons and your daughters were eating and drinking wine in the house of their brother, the firstborn. And see, a great wind came from the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house, and it fell on the young men, and they're dead. And I alone have escaped to inform you." Then Ayob rose up and tore his robe and shaved his head, and he fell into the ground and did obeisance. And he said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I return here. Yahweh has given, and Yahweh has taken away. Blessed be the name of Yahweh."
Everyone knows that one verse but you got to put this into, oh, don't take it out of context. Listen to the whole theme. This man was filthy rich, beautiful family, and all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. Death all over the place. His family's devastated. His livestock's destroyed. His servants are killed instantly. Okay, so the reason why I want to talk about discouragement is there was a man that was driving on the highway and everything was beautiful. Sun was shining. He had 3 beautiful children and a beautiful wife. And all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. That's my life. And we're T-boning a tractor trailer. That was one explosive moment that happened in my life. I didn't have a Job Avon. I didn't have his calamity where I lost all my children and all my well-being and everything. I had this one episode, but it was enough to get my attention and to cause me to feel discouraged. Job had all this happen to him, and he says, Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And I don't think he said it the way I just said it. I think he said it in tears. I think he had to be hurt. He had to be crying, but he already had it in his mind that I will not let the discouragement come from inside me. Like someone else may say something, and you're going to find that we're going to read a little bit more, but if you read, you're going to see his 3 friends come. His friends who were, okay, so if he was a godly man, do you think he had godly friends or just some guys around the corner? When you study, you're going to find these guys were godly. And they gave him some good advice, but they criticized him because they didn't see the big picture. They only expected long life and prosperity from Job because he lived a perfect life. And maybe perhaps there was sin in his life that caused this to happen. Someone could say maybe it's sin in our life that caused our situation to happen. So I just want to talk about discouragement, and then I'm going to show you that what's in his mind, and I'm going to show you how Yah feels about discouragement and those who would discourage. All right, let's go. Well, that was chapter 1.
Oh, yeah, finish 22.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. In all this, Ayov did not sin nor ascribe wrongdoing to Elohim.
All this. See, he could have easily very well said, I am, and he's going to say it later, he's going to say I'm a righteous man, and I don't deserve this. But he did not. He was careful with his tongue. We all have to be careful of our tongue because we're always so quick to say something that, because only from our perspective we see things and we think, and then we say it. I'm going to say something that you're going to think is not godly. Shut up! Keep your mouth shut, even if it's in your mind, because sometimes we open our mouth. And what did he say? He said he did not take this and say he did not sin. All right, again, verse chapter 2. Now we're going to chapter 2. That was one day. What a day. Wasn't that enough to rock your boat? All right.
Again, the Yom came to be that the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahuwah. And Hashatan also came among them to present himself before Yahuwah.
All right, first of all, let me stop because this brings a verse to my mind. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against in high places. So when you walk this walk is not a walk of flesh and blood. This is a spiritual walk. And there's some stuff going on behind the scenes. We need to be aware that some of the stuff that's happening, Yah is actually given permission for some of these things to happen in our life to prove us. When they were walking through the wilderness, he allowed them to suffer hunger, to try them. And some of them got ticked off and started complaining. And he gave them manna. That didn't satisfy them. And they started complaining again. He gave them water. He let them thirst in the desert. Our Father, let his children thirst in the desert. To try them, to see how they would respond. Matter of fact, it ticked Moshe off so much that he hit the rock twice. All right, so we wrestle not against spiritual things. Physical things, flesh and blood, but spiritual things and powers in high places. Verse 2.
And Yahuwah said to Hashatan, "From where are you coming?" And Hashatan answered and said, "From diligently searching the arets, and from walking up and down in it." And Yahuwah said unto Hashatan, "Have you considered my servant Ayob, that there is none like him on the arets, a perfect and straight man, one who fears Elohim and turns aside from evil, and still he holds fast to his integrity, although you incited me against him to destroy him without cause." And Hashatan answered Yahuwah and said, "Skin for skin, and all that a man has he will give for his life. So stretch out your hand, please, and strike his bone and his flesh, if he will not curse you to your face." And Yahuwah said unto Hashatan, "See, he's in your hand, only spare his life." And Hashatan went out from the presence of Yahuwah and smote Ayob with loathsome sores, from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. And he took a potsherd with which to scrape himself while he sat in the middle of ashes. And his Asher said unto him, "Do you still hold fast to your integrity? Curse Elohim and die." But he said to her, "You speak as one of the foolish women speaks. Indeed, should we accept only good from Elohim and not accept evil?" And all this Ayob did not sin with his lips. And three of his friends of the Ayob heard of all of this evil that came on him, and each came from his own place: Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shukite, and Sophar the Naamathite. And they met together to come to sympathize with him in the comfort. And they lifted up their eyes from a distance, and they didn't even recognize him. And they lifted their voices and wept. And each one tore his robe and sprinkled the dust of his head toward the Shamayim. Then they sat down with him on the ground 7 Yamim and 7 Lailah. And no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that the pain was very great. After this, Ayob opened his mouth and cursed the Yam of his birth. And Ayob spoke and said, "Let the young perish on which I was born, and the Lailah In the Lila, it was said, a male child has been conceived. Let that yam be darkness. Let not Allah speak, but Allah from above seek for it, nor let light shine upon it. Let darkness and the shadow of death buy it back. Let a cloud dwell on it. Let all that blackens the young frighten it. That Lila, let darkness seize it. Let it not be included among the Yamim of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Look, let that Lila be silent. Let not singing come into it. Let those who curse it, who curse the young, let those curse it who curse the young, who are ready to stir up the Luithan. Let the stars of its twilight be dark. Let it wait for light, but have none. And let it not see the eyelashes of the dawn. For it did not shut up the doors of my mother's womb, nor hide trouble from my eyes. Why did I not die from the womb? Come forth from the belly and expire. Why were there knees to receive me, or breasts for me to suck? But now I would have been lying in peace. I would have slept, then I would have been at rest, with sovereigns and counselors of the Arets, who built ruins for themselves, or with rulers who had gold, who had filled their houses with silver, or as a hidden untimely birth, as infants who never saw light. There the wrong cease raging, and there the weary are at rest. The prisoners rest together. They do not hear the voice of the oppressor. The small and the great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Why does he give light to the sufferer and life to the bitter of being, who are waiting for death, but it does not come, and search for it more than treasures, who rejoice exceedingly? They are glad when they find the grave. Why does he give light to a man whose way has been hidden, and whom Allah has hedged in? For my sighing comes before I eat, and my groanings pour out like water. For that which I greatly feared has come upon me, and that which I dreaded has overtaken me. I have not been at ease, nor have I been undisturbed, nor been at rest. Yet trouble comes. And Aliphaz the Temanite answered and said,
Oh, no. That's good. That's good. All right. So this was a big 7 days of sitting there listening to, looking at this man. When when I when we went through our little thing, I remember just sitting there. I was like, there was really not much to say. Just praise Yah that we're survived. His friends came alongside of him and they looked at him and they didn't recognize him, and he must have been a hot mess. Everybody have um, a wound that maybe is infected, um, that had to be surgically removed or fixed or repaired. That little cyst or a little obstruction in your body becomes a major thing. I mean, you're picking on it, you're doing all kinds of things because you want it healed. That's that's only one little. Can you imagine from the bottom of your foot to the top of your head, wound after wound, and you actually have to scrape it with a flower pot to scrape your sores. That's how bad this thing was. Horrible. And yet with this, he never. His heart was fixed. His heart was stayed in on course. We talked earlier about running and running long distance, and your mind sometimes will make you want to stop before you actually really need to stop. Before you know it, you're walking, you're sitting, you're you're doing anything but walking. Can you imagine being so messed up physically? Like, I couldn't imagine this. I had a cyst once. I had to have it surgically removed. That's nothing to this. This is like, all right. He took him to a point of death, as close as he could to killing him. The three friends came and they tried to console him, tried to comfort him. They end up actually abusing him in their verbiage. We're going to jump because we could read through this whole thing, but we're going to jump to chapter 12. And chapter 12 is after his friends had done their little what do you call it when the doctor comes and he examines you? They came and did their assessment of him, and they came back and they were like, you know what? You must have done something. Y'all's not going to just cause you to be stricken like this. Allow all this stuff to happen. Your kids are dead. It's a mess. It's your fault. All right, so let's go to 12 and maybe read 12 and 13. 12, verse 1.
And Job answered and said, truly, you are the people, and wisdom would die with you. But I, like you, have a heart too. I am not less than you. And who does not know such as me? I have become a laughing stock to my friend. One who is called on Allah, and he answered him, a laughing stock is the righteous, the perfect. A lamp is despised.
Before you go on, something had came to my thought pattern while reading through this, and I'm like, this is a man, but when you listen to it, it also is a nation. It's like you can actually see us in Job, that we're the laughing stock. And we have been, all the abuses that you saw that Job went through, we've gone through as a nation. You see it? We've had our women taken from us. We've had every kind of calamity one after another. And, I mean, this is just me. Huh?
The story is an allegory.
It is. And we become the laughing stock. And some of us, you can look at us and say, these are righteous people. Some of us have been righteous, as righteous as we possibly. Turner, righteous, lived righteously, and yet we're a laughing stock. Okay, just something for you to. When you read, you have to read deeper than the top level. You got to get a little bit deeper in this, and you're going to see Job became that for us. All right. What verse are we in?
Verse 5.
Verse 5.
A lamp is despised in the thought of one who is at ease. Prepare for those who speak so. The tents of robbers are at peace, and those who provoke are complacent to him who brings Allah into his hand. But now ask the beasts, and they teach you, and the birds of the Shamayim, and they declare it to you. Or speak to the Arets, and it teaches you. And the fish of the sea inform you. Who among all these does not know that the hand of Yahweh has done this? And in whose hand is the life of all that live, and the breath of all mankind? Does the ear not try words? And the mouth takes food for itself? With the age is wisdom, and understanding with the length of Yamin. With him are wisdom and might. He has counsel and understanding. Look, he breaks down, and it is not rebuilt. If he imprisons a man, there is no release. Look, he withholds the Ma'im, and they dry up, and he sends them out, and they overwhelm the Arabs. With him are strength and ability. The misled and the misleader are his. He leads counselors away strictly, and makes judges go mad. He loosens the bonds of sovereigns, and binds a girdle on their loins. who leads away priests as a spoil and overthrows the mighty, turning aside the lips of the trusted ones, and takes away the discernment of the elders, pouring scorn on nobles, and loosens the girdle of the strong, revealing deep matters out of darkness. And he brings the shadow of death to light, making nations great, and he destroys them, spreading out the nations, and he leads them out, turning aside the heart of the chiefs of the people of thy race, and he makes them wander in a pathless waste. They grope in darkness, having no light, and he makes them stagger like a drunkard. Look, my eye has seen it all, my ear has heard and understood it. What you know, I know too. I'm not less than you, but I would speak to the Almighty, and I delight to reason with Him. But you smear with falsehood, worthless healers, all of you. If you would only be silent, then it would be your wisdom. Please hear my reasoning and listen to the pleadings of my lips. Would you speak perversely for Al and speak deceit for him? Would you be partial toward him? Would you plead for Al? Would it be well when he searches you out? Or could you have deceived him as one deceives a man? He would certainly reprove you if you secretly show partiality. Should not his excellence make you afraid, and the dread of him fall upon you? Your weighty sayings are proverbs of ashes. Your shields are shields of clay. Be silent before me, and let me speak, and let whatever come upon me. Why do I take my flesh in my teeth and put my life in my hands? Though he does slay me, I wait, but I show my ways to be right before him. He also is my deliverance, for a defiled one does not come before him.
You gotta love verse 15. Though he slay me, that's that verse you've heard in the King James. So though he slay me, yet will I trust him. Come on.
I show my way to be right before him. He is also my deliverance, for a defiled one does not come before him. Listen closely to my words, and with your ears to what I say. Look, please. I have prepared my case. I know that I am in the right. Who is he who will strive with me?
What verse are you in?
Verse 18 and
18.
Yeah.
Read 18 again. And now?
Look, please. I have prepared my case. I know that I am in the right.
He knows that here we are. Here's his testimony. I know I'm right. See, we what's the book say? Let a man examine himself. We should be examining ourselves so that when anything comes our way, we can tell if it's judgment or if it's just one of those calamities that is our way. But we should be able to say, I've been walking right. We know we're walking right. And when you're walking crooked, you know you're walking crooked. The powers to be would have you say, don't worry about the commandments, because at that point you can get away with doing anything. But when you strive to keep the commandments, you know when you're a little bit off. You know that you're like, I should have done what I did. Without even condemning yourself, you know where you are.
Well, in certain cases, it's like it's just part of the frustration of the wicked world that you live in. Because now you have people, especially Negro Hebrew people, who ain't awakened, and they're very contemptuous and punitive. You don't have, because you ain't striving, and they play this record. It's like, I took the civil service exam. I know I did the parts right that pertain to the job, but they failed me because I told the truth on the answers.
Right.
So so this is what he's saying. Like, or at least that's how I read it. It's like I didn't do wrong to get wrong.
And that's where we're at in this society that we're in. If you want to be successful, do wrong to be successful. That's why there's no honest politicians. They know that. They know that if I'm going to be a politician, I got to lie.
You want a record deal? Come to know.
Right.
Forgive me for saying it like that, but that's how it goes in most cases.
19.
Who is he who will strive with me? For then I will keep silent and die. Only two things do not do to me, then I am not hidden from your face. Withdraw your hand far from me, and let not dread of you make me afraid. Then call and let me answer, or to let me speak, and you reply to me. How many are my crookednesses and sins? Let me know my transgression and my sin. Why do you hide your face and reckon me as your enemy? Would you frighten a leaf driven to and fro? And would you pursue dry stubble? For you write bitter charges against me and make me inherit the crookedness of my youth, and put my feet in the stocks, and look closely to all my paths. You set a limit for the soles of my feet, and he, like that which is rotten, wastes away, as a garment that is moth-eaten. Man born of Asher is a few yamim in turmoil filled.
That's us. Any of us that's born of a woman, of an ish, our life is full of trouble. Like in a field filled with weeds. We're in it. Come on.
He comes forth like a flower and withers. He flees like a shadow and does not continue. Yet on such a one, you open your eyes and bring me to right ruling with yourself, who brings the clean out of the unclean, noble. Since his yamim are decided, the number of his months is with you. You have appointed his bounds, which he does not pass over. Look away from him and let him rest. So like a hired man, he enjoys his young. For there is expectancy for a tree. If it is cut down, then it is sprout again, and that its tender branch does not cease. Though its root grows old in the arets, and its stump dies in the ground, at the scent of water, it buds and brings forth foliage like a plant. But a man dies and is powerless.
Now you're going to see what happens to you when you die. Because some of us think I'm dying and going to heaven. When I was in Christianity, I used to think that some people died and they're up in heaven and looking down and smiling on me. And you see what I did? And you're thinking that they're cheering you on, right? Because this is the twisted mindset that comes out of a twisted cultish religion, Christianity.
But a man dies and is powerless, and man expires, and where is he? Water disappears from the sea, and the river dries up and is parched, and man shall lie down and not rise, till the Shamayim are no more.
Say what?
Till the Shamayim are no more.
But what was that before that?
A man shall lie down and
He
not
shall
rise,
lie down and not rise.
until the Shamayim are no more.
Okay.
They awake not, nor are aroused from their sleep. If only you would hide me in the grave, conceal me until your wrath turns away. Set me a time and remember me. If a man dies, would he live again? All the yamim of my struggle, I wait till my change comes. You would call and I would answer you. You have yearned for the work of your hands, but now you count my steps. Do you not watch over my sin? My transgression is sealed up in a bag, and you cover over my crookedness. But a falling mountain tumbles away, and a rock is moved from its place, as water wears away stones. Its outpouring washes away the soil of the arets, so you have destroyed the expectancy of man. You overpower him forever, and he is gone. His face changes, and you send him away. His sons come to esteem, and he doesn't know it, and they are brought low, and he does not perceive it. He feels only the pain of his flesh, and he mourns over himself.
So now that was the end of his evaluation of what he was, but of where he was. Now, in this whole 13 chapters, the whole story of Avon, he never yet once cursed Yah. He never once falsely accused him. He never once did anything that would show him to be a sinful person. He maintained, and this was one of the best sentences in this whole thing. He maintained his integrity. He refused to lose his integrity. You know that there's proverbs about a man whose integrity, once your integrity is shot, a bad um, a bad name goes a long ways. I'm trying to think of the proverb. There's a proverb that talks about your name being
Your name is worth more than silver and gold.
your name is worth more than silver and gold. There was another one too, but that's a good one. But once you have a bad name, like if you are, what's funny is like you have these people that when they do something wrong and you find out that the guy's name that had this that just died that just killed. They say he killed himself.
Oh, Epstein.
Epstein. Did he have a good name? He was a righteous person. No, we knew he was a creep. We knew he was an idiot. He was. I almost called him an idiot. We know that he did some horrible things in his life. He got away with it for a long time. They caught him. Then because he had money. But the people that really knew of him, they knew what he was. The president knew who he was. He knew what type of a person this guy was. He was a creep. Oh, that just something just came to me. Birds of a feather flock together. All right. So his integrity was never shot from inside. And I want to take you, because this is all about don't be discouraged. Let's go to Numbers. Mithra. Numbers. Chapter 32. This I only want to. I really, and I'm looking at the clock, but let's read through 32. This is good because this is about being discouraged, and now from the outside. I'm telling you that there's people that their mission is to disrupt the awakening in one way or another. Like, can I stop them from gathering together? Can I stop them from? Maybe I'll get them to go back to Christianity. Maybe I'll get them to just. I gotta get them to stop. Stop. Don't tell other people who you are. So whenever, and I would take you to Ezra 4 because there's another one about discouragement because they were rebuilding the wall. But let's look at this because we want to be ready to enter into the kingdom. All right. Now the children.
The children of Reuben and the children of Gad had much livestock, a large number. And they saw the land of Yazar in the land of Gilead and saw that the place was a place for livestock. So the children of Gad and the children of Reuben came and spoke to Musha and to Alazar the priest and said to the leader of the congregation, saying, Athroth and Devon and Yazar and Nimrod and Keshban and Aliyah and Sebon and Nebo and Beon, the land which Yahweh had smitten before the congregation of Yisra'el, and a land is a land for livestock, and your servants have livestock. And they said, if we have found favor in your eyes, let this land you given to your servants as a possession, and don't let us pass over the yard. And Musha said to the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, are your brothers to go into the battle while you yourselves sit here? Now, why do you discourage the heart of the children of Yasharel from passing over into the land which Yahweh has given them? Thus, your fathers did when I sent them away from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. But when they went up to the Wadi Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Yasharel, so that they didn't go into the land which Yahweh had given them.
Okay. This is a very easy equation. We got a whole bunch of sheep. You got land. Why can't we just use the land for our sheep? Too many of us want the easy way out. There's the easy way out. There's land. I can put my sheep on the land. That's right. There's not a problem with that. But everybody else going to war, we can go back and chill and relax because we got this beautiful land here. Where our assignment is to cross over to Jordan, but I think I'd rather just chill. So now they have a problem because Moses and Moshe and the priests and the other elders are like, yo, you want to just chill while everybody else goes to war. Everyone else is going to war, but you want. David did something similar to this. Just try it. Oh, I don't want to go sidetrack. But here was a situation where convenience and was comfortable because we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. It's comfortable to stay here and chill because it's like beautiful land here. The land was given to us. So y'all let us stay here. Okay, so where are we at? Go back to 6. Go back to 6. I know we were at 10, but go back to 6. And Moshe.
And Moshe said to the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, are your brothers to go into battle while you yourselves sit here?
And just chill because you got a nice little spot to rest.
Now, why do you discourage the heart of the children of Yasharel from passing over into the land which Yahweh has given you?
And there's the problem. Not only are we going to not, like, I don't want to do right, and I'm going to stop his children from doing right. That's why you have these people that are telling people they're discouraging other people because they're not doing right. Okay, go ahead.
Thus, your fathers did when I sent them away from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. When they went up to the Wadi Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Yasharel, so that they did not go into the land which Yahweh has given them.
Now, you remember that? Everybody remembers that, right? They sent out the spies, right? Mm-hmm. What did the spies come back and do? Say it again, Chanel. They gave a discouraging report. And what did everybody do? It's like, oh, they got fearful. They became cowards. They said, but these people are like, we look like grasshoppers to them. Because they're big and huge. And they brought back the grapes. And they said, you see these grapes? Everything there is huge. They got discouraged. They came back with a discouraging report and gave it to the people. Which, should we go over into the land? Pretty much no. Okay.
Then the displeasure of Yahweh burned on that young, and he swore an oath, saying, not one of the men who came up from Mitzrayim from 20 years old and above is to see the land which I swore to Abraham and Yitzhak from their coast, because they did not follow me completely.
They didn't follow me how?
Completely.
Wholeheartedly. All in or nothing at all. And because they didn't follow him completely, they didn't follow him. Because they were easily discouraged by these 8 people that came back with their negative report, none of them made it into. He said, you know what? Anybody of a certain age, you're not getting in. You're not going into the promised land. 11.
Now, one of the men who came up from Mitzrayim from 20 years old and above is to see a land which I saw to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because they did not follow me completely, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and the Canaanite, and Yahushua, son of Nun, for they have followed Yahweh completely. So the displeasure of Yahweh burned against Yisra'el, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until all the generation that had done evil in the eyes of Yahweh was destroyed. And see, you have risen in your father's place, an increase of men, sinners, to add more the burning displeasure of Yahweh against Yisra'el. For if you turn away from following him, he shall once again lead them in the wilderness, and you shall destroy all these people. Then they came near to him and said, let us build sheep enclosures here for our livestock and cities for our little ones. Well, let us ourselves be armed, hastening before the children of Yisrael until we have brought them to their place. And our little ones shall dwell in the walled cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We shall not return to our homes until every one of the children of Yasharel has received his inheritance. For we shall not inherit with them on the other side of the Jordan and beyond, because our inheritance has fallen to us on this eastern side of the Jordan. And Musha said to them, if you make this promise, if you arm yourself before Yahweh for battle, and all your armed ones pass over the Jordan before Yahweh until he has driven out his enemies from before him, and the land has been subdued before him, before Yahweh, then afterward you shall return and be guiltless before Yahweh and before Yasharel. And this land shall be your possession before Yahweh. But if you do not do so, then see, you shall sin against Yahweh, and know your sin is going to find you out. Build cities for your little ones, and enclosures for your sheep, and do what you have promised. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben spoke to Musha, saying, your servants are going to do as my master commands. Our little ones, our wives, our flocks, and all our livestock are going to be there in the cities of Gilead. But your servants are passing over, every armed one of the army before Yahweh to battle, as my master says. And Musha gave command concerning them to Eleazar the priest, to Yahushua the son of Nun, and to the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Yasharel. And Musa said to them, if the children of Gad and the children of Reuben pass over the Jordan with you, every man armed for battle before Yahweh, and the land has been subdued before you, then you shall give them the land of Gilead as a possession. But if they don't pass over armed before you, they shall have possessions. If they do not pass over armed with you, they shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan. Then the children of Gad and the children of Reuben answered, saying, as Yahweh has said to your servants, so we do. We ourselves are passing over armed before Yahweh into the land of Canaan, but the possession of our inheritance remains with us beyond the Jordan. So Musha gave to the children of Gad, to the children of Reuben, and to half the tribe of Manasseh, son of Yosef, the reign of Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, and the reign of Og, sovereign of Bashan, the land with its cities within the borders, the cities of the land round about. And the children of Gadah built Divan, and Athra, and Aror, and Athra, Shofan, and Yaezer, and Yobah, and Beth Nimrod, and Beth Haran, walled cities and enclosures for sheep. And the children of Reuben built Keshban, and Alea, and Kiriath Yaim, Nebo, and Baal Meon, the names being changed in Shibma, and they have other names to the cities which they built. And the sons of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilead and took it, and dispossessed the Ammonite
Amorites who were in it. So Mushah gave Gilead to Machir, son of Manasseh, and he dwelt in it. And Yair, son of Manasseh, went and took the small towns and called them Kauth Yair. And Nobab went and took Kenah and its villages, and he called it Nobab after his own name.
Okay, so we can go on and on and on, but here Yah gave them a condition and allowed them to follow through the condition, but they had to be willing to do what he was requiring them to do. They had to go to war, and then they would come back. And if you want to find the end of the story, you're going to have to read more because I've reached my hour marker and I'm shutting it down. But be careful not to let other people discourage you. Be determined in your heart that you're not going to let your own heart discourage you, right? And then you saw what happened here. The whole nation was penalized because a few people gave a discouraging remark. It's not, this has been happening since day one of the nation, and it's happening. It's rearing its ugly head, and there are people that are discouraging people from going to the gatherings, and we need to be on cautious. We need to be discerning. I'm not expecting you to go anywhere listening to anything. And there's some stuff out there you need to be concerned with. But Yah has called us to gather, called us to be a nation. And you can't be a nation on Shabbat if you're home by yourself. He says, forsake not the assembling of yourselves together. This is the New Testament, because we have to gather. Why do you think he's in Timothy? He says that he's given us pastors and teachers, mores, and people of authority, so that when we come together, we have some type of system where we're now becoming a cohesive nation. And whenever there's people gathered, there's going to be problems. And we have to work those things out. We have to iron those things out. We have to learn to love each other. So that's my message for today. I'll be back next week, God willing. And thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. Thanks for enduring as we get back into our teaching mode. I'm going to start by saying Shabbat Shalom. The word for discouraged is a Hebrew word, no. Stop telling people no. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Shalom.
Shalom.